Hey guys, how's it going? Just so you know, as I'm going through these videos, there's going to be different things in there that I may mention that we're going to touch base on later in a separate video. I'm going to try to do a series of smaller, shorter videos on things like cleaning out a condensation pump, checking fan speeds on a blower motor, things of that nature. So as we go through this series, if you have questions and you hear me mention that we're going to do another video on it, it'll probably be later in the week. I don't mind you asking questions if you want to ahead of time, but just keep in mind that that's a distinct possibility that that's going to be covered in a shorter, separate video. All right, hope you enjoy the videos. I'm going to try to keep them coming all week, and I'll talk to you soon. Alright guys, we've made it into the customer's basement. We've had them turn the AC system on, and we checked the duct air temperature to make sure that the condensing unit was running. As you can see, there's a thermometer here in the supply side, and there's also one over here in the return side. So we shut the unit down, and the first thing we're going to do is inspect the inside of the evaporator coil, which is this section here on top. So they're all different. Some of them are super easy to get the covers off of. Some of them are fairly difficult. This one has a handful of 5/16 screws. So let me go ahead and start removing those. You will notice, depending on who did the original installation, you have a lot of stuff in the way. You have refrigerant lines in the way, you have vent pipes in the way, you have condensation lines in the way. Some of these can be very tricky or difficult to get off, and if they were installed improperly in the first place, it can really be a nightmare. I've actually had to cut vent lines off in some cases, or move gas lines or condensate lines just to get a door off of a unit. Okay, so now we got our door off of our unit, and let me give you a little closer look at the evaporator coil. So here we're basically inspecting the inside of the evaporator coil. We're looking for mold or any type of buildup on the inside of the cabinet, and I don't see any. And the other thing we're doing is we're identifying our metering device. So right here is our TXV valve. So everything looks good there. We're also going to take a quick peek in our, and let me get some better light here. We're going to take a quick peek inside of our drain pan to make sure there's not a lot of dirt or buildup or solids in the drain pan, and that drain pan looks good. Okay, so everything there looks good. If you expect that there's a lot of dirt in the system, let me show you this real quick. There is a additional cover on the inside of the A coil that there's multiple screws. You can take that off. You can inspect in there. See, there's a couple more screws up here at the top holding that cover in. Some of them are extremely difficult to get off, if not impossible. I've actually had some where I had to physically cut through that piece of sheet metal to get it into 2 sections so I could get it all far enough to clean it. You don't want to do that unless it's absolutely necessary. So unless you expect that there's a blockage in the evaporator coil, or it's one that's very simple to get apart, don't just start cutting up units for the heck of it. Alright? So the next step is going to be, we know the drain pan's clear, we're going to go ahead and we're going to brush out the inside of this trap. And this is the brush that we're going to use to do it with. It's, I don't know, 16 inches long, and it's specifically designed to brush the condensate trap out. So you just basically take your brush, plunge it down through, work it in and out of there a little bit, and you will probably find some gross, chunky, snotty looking stuff in there. That's what builds up in those traps. And if it's not taken care of on a regular basis, it will eventually clog. One other item that does come into play a lot with these, if the unit has a condensation pump, which this one does, you can remove the pump and clean the pan out on the pump. We'll get into that in another video. You know, that's pretty straightforward too. You basically just take the screws out from either side, slide it off, obviously unplug it, and the upper portion can be lifted off and left in place. Take the pan out, rinse it, remove any debris, put it all back together, and retest the pump. Alright guys, another thing we're going to check here quick is the air filter. On this particular unit, this has a media style air filter. The cabinet is located here on the side. You simply pull this front door down, and the filter slides out. These media type air filters are really popular nowadays. It seems to be what everybody's going to. As you can see, it's 4 inches wide. It's the same size as what a standard filter would be, which, you know, normal furnaces would run either a 16 by 25 or a 20 by 25. It just gives you that extra width over a standard 1-inch filter. They last a lot longer. They catch smaller particles. I like to put these on with every installation. This one doesn't look too bad, so we're just going to go ahead and reinstall it. Okay, and when we initially did our check on this furnace, when we came down with the homeowner to verify that the outdoor unit was running, I did let the unit run long enough before I started working on it to verify that it had that 20-degree air temperature split. If you don't have your 20-degree split, this isn't really the time to dig into that too much, but you can check your fan speeds to see if they're within reason, and that would be done in the bottom of the unit. Hope you guys can see this. We're just going to pop the bottom door off, and we're going to take a look inside the furnace. I know we reviewed fan speeds. A lot of times, if you have a PSE or a standard style fan motor, you'll be able to actually see speed taps on the circuit board and then use the wiring schematic on the unit to determine what speed it's set at. This unit happens to have an ECM style fan motor, and the fan speed selection is a little bit different on those. I did verify the fan speed's correct on this, so we're just going to go ahead and button it back up. Another good thing to do when you're doing AC preventative maintenance is just take a look around at the unit. Try to see if there's anything else that looks out of place, anything that you could mention to the homeowner about something with the system. Kind of check over the line set. Look for any oily spots that might be on the Armaflex or at any of the joints here that would identify that there may be a leak in the system. You can see this unit has a humidifier on it, which we'll get into in another video. So this portion was pretty straightforward. This particular unit didn't need a whole lot as far as inside work done for the preventative maintenance visit. Like I said, if you can easily access the inside of the evaporator coil, I always do. They tend to get a lot of buildup on them, and I'll try to put some photos of dirty evaporator coils in with this video so you can see what I'm talking about. But no, so far everything looks good on this one. We'll move to the outdoor unit in the next video to go over the remainder of the preventative maintenance check. The only other thing that you could really do in here, if you do feel that there may be an issue with the unit, you can use your digital sling psychrometer at this time to measure the indoor wet bulb temperature, which you will need later with a refrigerant slide chart to make a determination on whether the superheat and subcooling is correct. And we'll go over that in the outdoor unit. So that's going to wrap it up for the indoor portion of the video, and we'll see you on the next video when we're working on the outdoor unit.